Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be putting in the GkTech clutch master, clutch slave, braided line, everything new to complement the new clutch that's in the car, because I was having some issues with it sort of half bleeding, and I'm confident it's the slave leaking now, which I didn't see until I took the dust boot off the slave, which is this little bit just here. On the one on the car, I'll show you when I get under there. But yeah, I'll give you a quick look at these. These are just off GkTech. I believe they use, what are they called? HFM parts. I've got their brake booster in my car already. Haven't actually driven the car yet, but seems to work, doesn't leak. And do all of that. So that's the clutch master. It's got a bleed nipple at the top there to get any air out, and it connects straight to the bottom. Pretty straightforward. This runs through the firewall, and that actually connects to the clutch pedal. So you're essentially pushing that with the clutch pedal to push fluid down the braided line. That there's just a heat shield that I threw on for a couple of dollars. Just basically pushes over the braided line, but that pushes fluid through that, and that essentially goes into the side of this to push this pin, like the cylinder pushes this pin, which pushes the clutch fork on the gearbox. Clutch fork engages the clutch. A couple of steps involved, but if any one of them are leaking or not working, you sort of throw the whole system out of whack. It's got brand new fluid in it, everything like that. So yeah, this is my last attempt. If this doesn't fix it, I don't know what it is, because it's got a brand new clutch in it, brand new fluid. I'm replacing all the old but aftermarket parts, just with some fresh stuff. Put some even fresher fluid in it, and then hopefully that fixes the issue. I get full engagement on the clutch pedal, because at the moment it's sitting probably that far further behind the brake and the accelerator, so it just doesn't feel right. So pretty quick and easy video. I'll show you how to do it. It's 2 bolts in the firewall, a pin that you take out of the clutch pedal, drain all the fluid out, undo it, and bolt it back on. Same with the slave cylinder. It's 2 bolts on the gearbox. It drops out and you're good to go. It's also about 30 degrees in my garage. It's uninsulated. Peak of summer in Australia. It is incredibly hot. Cool. So first things first, as you can see, the clutch sits a fair whack back. It's got this sort of dead spot. It doesn't really start pushing fluid until about there, and then it's normal. But it should hopefully get rid of that and bring it right up to there once I adjust it out, because this at the moment's adjusted. I adjusted it both ways, and it just wasn't fixing it. So this is probably going to be easier if you have your seat out, but I'm just going to do it with the seat in because I'm trying to be lazy. Probably going to bite me in the bum. Anyways, so that up there is your clutch master, and right there is the pin you want to take out. I just bent some wire up in it, and sometimes I have a clip. It's just essentially a little pin with a hole on one end and a flat face on the other to stop it from pushing through. That runs through your clutch pedal into that bracket. So when you push your clutch pedal, it's pushing this whole rod in, which is pushing fluid down your line. Just take that pin out and then slide it off, and I'll show you what to do next. So that is the little pin, and I've just got some wire bent up, but you essentially take that out, and then that there, I can zoom in, will move freely. If I can do this without looking, it's probably not the best video. Yeah, crap video. Anyways, it's disconnected, so nothing's holding it in. So we can essentially, it's not disconnected on this side of the firewall, it's just a boot. So what we can do next is we'll go down and drain the fluid out of the whole thing. And then we'll start from the top once the fluid's out of it, and unbolt it all. So I took the pin out of the clutch pedal. Probably should have left that in and done this first, but it's what it is. We can still bleed it. So essentially, you want a little bleeder bottle hooked up to the nipple on the slave. I've lost my 8mm spanner, of course. So just gonna get anything that you have. For me, that is a shifter, and just open it. Making this look a lot harder than it is. Yeah, sweet, that is open. As you can see, it's twisting. There's some fluid there. So it's open. I've got that pushed up way against it. Now, you come out from underneath the car. You pop the lid off of that. And this is where I'll pop the pin back in. And just hopefully you've watched this video the whole way through, and you just pump the clutch pedal until all that fluid's gone, and then you take the pin out. That probably makes a bit more sense. Alright, now the clutch has 0 fluid in it. And as you can see, it doesn't really hold that much, but it's bled dry. As dry you can get it by just pumping the pedal with the bleed open. So what we're going to do next is just disconnect the catch bottle, wipe it down as best we can, and then I'm going to quickly, because this still has the damper, I thought it didn't, I just wasn't, the heat sort of takes it out of you. Disconnect this hard line here, because this is the braided liner that it came with. As you can see, it's a Nismo slave. I'll cut this just to have a check in there again. I'm 99% sure this is leaking. And it's obviously got a damper, so it's not working that well. Yeah, you close that back up, disconnect this, break that hard line there, because I'll take this hard line out with the slave all in one go at the top, and I'll take this braided line and these 2 bolts out of here. So I'll quickly set you up and yeah, take those off. Alright, hopefully I have that set up alright, because I can't really see anything. If you have a ring spanner, it's probably best to, basically they're like a spanner that come around just a little further on the inners there, that you slip over the line, hard line there, and then put on. Less likely around these. I'm not keeping it, so I don't care. I just need it to come off. And I can see that it's quite rounded already anyway, so it's probably best I do this. And as you'd expect, you go the wrong way the first time. Have a rag handy just in case any fluid comes out, because brake fluid doesn't agree with paint or anything painted. Cool, as you can see, disconnected. Push this hard line back through, and then I'll swing around with a, what socket's on it? 14mm, I think.
The chassis twist is coming out.
So we got that out, and I just quickly want to take the side cutters, because I went down the route of getting an adjustable pin, thinking that maybe it didn't have enough. Yeah, still leaking. Basically that should be dry. You're leaking anything there, you push some fluid through, which is just going to lose pressure. Not good. So even though it's a Nismo, it's got a slightly bigger bore. Yeah, it needed to go. It was broken. Compare this to the new one, slightly bigger bore than that, but this is just a factory replacement, which is all I need. You don't, speaking to a couple of clutch manufacturers, and they pretty much said you don't need a Nismo for what I'm trying to do, which is fine. That's just what came on the car, that's what I was using, is what it is. Replace it with a new one. So while I'm down there, I may as well throw this new one back in. That's much better. As you can see, compare the two, if I can get them in focus by, there we go. Basically this sits in like, how did I have it? Like that. Actually no, sorry, other way around. So you push it in, there's like a lip, and this end sits there. I'll push this boot over like that. Nice. When I pop that there, it's going to allow me to push this all the way back through. Yeah, when I basically crack that nipple, it'll let me push this piston back as easy as that. Oh, let's go throw this in the car. So, new one's on. Basically, that piston will be too far out to fit the pin in against the clutch fork. So take the pin out with the boot off, bolt it in, crack the bleed nipple, which is that one there, and then while it's bolted in, just take the pin with the boot and push the cylinder all the way back in. It'll slot in, slip the boot over, tighten the bleed nipple back up. So when we put the line straight to it, the bleed nipple's tight. When we pump it, it'll give it all pressure and we can go through the bleeding process. It's not really a spot to throw a zip tie around it. Looks like you could run some wire around it maybe, but I'll just leave that for now because it's not going to come off. Sort of just pressure fit on. So yeah, the damper line is that one there. I'll basically, I'm pretty sure it's two 12mm or 14mm, which is on this. I'll undo them from the firewall. I'll see if I can get under here and show you without bumping my head. Yeah, you can sort of see them. Zoom in a bit. That one there. There's one just next to it, if I can get it to focus. That one there. Two of those, drop them out, and this whole assembly from the bottom all the way down to here. The whole thing will come out from the firewall and I can just lift it out. Like I said, keep a rag handy because if you get any brake fluid on anything, it's just messy and it'll strip paint. With those two bolts, they're two 12mm that run through the firewall on this side. They're just the studs with nuts on them. This top left one is easier to hit from the top of the engine bay. This bottom one's easy to get from the underside, just with a 3/8 12mm or a ring spanner, whatever you've got. And then if you're doing the damper delete like I am, instead of trying to undo this and then pull it out all separately, just bend this line when you're taking it out. The only thing I had to undo out of there was a grounding strap that was just there. The rest I just pretty much came up and out and then bent the hard line around it because I'm not using it again. Pretty straightforward. Pretty easy to do. I wasn't going to do it holding a camera. You need two hands. So now that we got that one out, I'm going to show you the new one. We'll compare the two without getting my feet in it because I'm not wearing shoes. It pretty much just copy and paste, just modern. I believe this is the original. I thought it was an aftermarket one, but it must be the original. Looking at the age, basically do it in reverse. I'm going to take this heat sleeving line, put it over the, get rid of the old one. I'm going to slip this over the hard line, and I'll actually install the hard line into the bottom of the master before I put it in, because trying to get this into the bottom of that with everything in the car, with the intake manifold, the back of the motor, is going to be a pain. So it's just going to be easier for me to do it out of the car. Now with the damper deletes, they come with a banjo end, which is that one there, which will run into the slave, and then this is just a thread in, which is going to be easier if it runs straight down, and then I can route this line, and then this sits on the side with a banjo bolt to the slave cylinder. Pretty straightforward, but I'll slip this heat sleeve over that, put it into the bottom of that, and then show you how it all goes back in the car. So shove the heat sleeve on the line and threw it back in the car. Just pretty much dangled the line down there, as you can see, that's it there. It's just roughly in the point, and then fed it back through, back the way it came. Now if you have the standard Nissan nuts, they have like a inbuilt washer. You can basically just keep them in neat, otherwise just replace them with whatever hardware you got. But yeah, I'll throw the hardware on, bolt these up, tighten them up, and then hook up the line to the slave. Quick and easy. And then I might just, well I'll hook up my strap again. Cool, so they're all tightened up. I should note, when I put that hard line on, or the braided line on, I didn't do it all the way up, I just threaded it in. It's not done all the way up, but it's attached. And I'll show you why I didn't do it all the way up. And I'll do that once I find a way that I want to run it, because the way the banjo sits has to sit on a certain angle. It sits flush, and it uses these, banjo bolt, that basically pushes fluid in through, I don't know if you can see that through the side, probably can't. Yeah, there's little holes, I'll show you when I take it out of the packet, pushes through the side rather than straight up and down. So if you come out of the car, if I get under the car, I've got it run down that way. Obviously that's the steering shaft, so I want to keep it away from that, just like everything else is sort of out of the way. Now if I had done it up 100%, it wouldn't sit, so I need to be able to twist this and get it to bolt in flush there, and if it was tight at the top I couldn't twist the whole thread on this thing like that, and that's changing the angle of this. So just keep that in mind, don't do it all the way up, just tighten it up enough threads so that you can still maneuver around. I'm going to pretty much put it there roughly, so it runs there, tucks up. I can basically zip tie it to the fuel lines so it stays out of the way of steering shaft, and then it doesn't sit lower than anything. It's not going to rub on anything or break basically. So I'll quickly throw the banjo in this. So there's two copper washers, get it to focus. One goes on the top and one goes on the bottom of the banjo fitting, so it sandwiches it. So without the fitting there it'll sit like that, and fluid comes down the line into that hole, out through the bottom into the slave cylinder. So I won't be able to film it, but I'll quickly just throw this in and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I've got this hooked up. Now that since these are crush washers, you can over tighten them. Just be wary, I don't actually know the torque specs. I'm sure GkTech has a much better video than I do on the install of these and can tell you the torque specs. It's just like a drain plug washer, just don't over tighten it, and you'll have to replace it if you ever undo it, otherwise it'll leak. Now I've got the route of this thing where I want it to go, I'm pretty happy with it. Runs straight up into the bottom of the master. It sort of follows the lines of the return line, the feed line for the fuel, stays out of the way of the steering shaft, and I've just zip tied it to the fuel lines so it can't bounce anywhere. It just sort of gives the fuel lines a bit more rigidity. Now I had the factory bracket sitting there with everything out. It probably just made sense for me to take it out, and it just takes away that. It probably would have rubbed on my fuel lines eventually, so we'll just, it's 2 bolts, 2 12 mils, unbolt it. The hardest part you're going to have of this whole thing really is just getting the last half turn, or half turn on the bottom of the master. That's an 11 mil head for the hardline. I think it's Imperial. So yeah, other than that it's pretty straightforward, and if I wasn't fluffing around and filming it, it would have taken me about an hour maybe to get it in the car. Right, so fast forward a couple hours. I just got back. I didn't put any fluid in it before I left. I got out from underneath the car and went. Just got back, quickly adjusted the pedal. So I'll flip this around so you can see it's in the correct spot now. That's where I want it to end and sort of start engagement. It'll probably have a dead spot of about 5 or 10 mil, which is perfect. It's about where I want it. If I need to adjust it any further I will, but I'll start with that for now. I've just taken the cap off the master, poured some fluid in, and before I employ the services of my father-in-law or my wife to help me bleed it, I'm just going to push some fluid through it to get some pedal feel. I can do that by myself. Jump out of the car, hook up the catch, basically a little fluid canister that catches everything. Open the bleed nipple, jump in, pump the clutch a couple times, just get the fluid through the system, close it back off, top it back up, get someone out. If you've never bled anything before, if you don't have a vacuum bleeder, it's a 2-person job. So I'll quickly get some fluid in there, and then I'll get someone out here to help me just pump the pedal. Essentially all you're doing is you're building up pressure, so they push the pedal over and over and over again, 4, 5, 6 times. They hold the pedal. While they're holding the pedal, you basically crack the bleed nipple, fluid shoots out. You're essentially pushing air out of the system by doing that. And then while they're still holding the pedal, you retighten the bleed nipple. Then they can let go of the pedal, and you do it all over again until there's no air bubbles coming out of that basically point at the end, and you get a good pedal feel. You just do that until everything's done. sometimes you might need to just crack the bleed nipple on the master, just to let some air out of the actual master cylinder. But theoretically, it's at the highest point of the car it is right now. I shouldn't need to crank the pedal, get all the air out of it, and we got good pedal feel. That's ideally how we should be going. I'll quickly do that now, and then I'll get someone out here to help me bleed it. So I got basically just the little holder, bleed kit, whatever you want to call it. It's just a piece of clear hose that hooks up to the bleed nipple up there. Slips over it. I've just undone it like half a turn. Not all the way, but just enough. And essentially that's just going to catch fluid that I'm pushing through the system. So I'll jump up into the car now. So I was in the car, pushed it, went straight to the floor, jumped out just to check. And that reservoir was still full, so jump back down. And this had actually tightened itself back up just ever enough to stop fluid from coming through when I hook this up. So yeah, you can essentially see those air bubbles. That's what you want to see when you've got someone here just getting the system bled. You want that coming out. So I've just tightened that back up just enough. It's got fluid coming out of it now. It's going down there, so I'll quickly throw some in. Oh, nailed it. No funnel. Not a spill. Nice. The new slave is a 10mm bolt. The old Nismo was a 8mm. So I'll just tighten that up enough, just a nip. I'll employ the help of my beautiful wife to come out and push the clutch pedal for me. How's it feel to be in the race car, Eden? Alright, so I've got Eden doing the clutch. I'll show you what I mean by all of this. So Eden pumped the clutch. So we're slowly getting little bits of movement in this. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. All the way off. Lots of little air bubbles. Lots of little air bubbles coming through. Cool. Release it and then pump it back up again, please. And we got slightly more movement again. And you're just going to do this over and over and over, making sure you don't run out of fluid at the top until this has full range of motion and there's no more air bubbles coming out of that. Hold. It's really hard to do this one-handed. And you can hear when air bubbles come out. There's lots of little bubbles in that. It's quite milky coloured because there's tiny little air bubbles through and occasionally you get the big ones. Alright, cool, release and then pump it up again. And even more movement. Just keep doing that, rinse, repeat, put more fluid in, etc. Car back on the ground. Clutch working. And just back in the Porsche, back into the garage. I'll do a video on this thing one day. I'll take it for a drive, do a walk around. So I drove it for about an hour out to here. Don't even know if you can hear me, but it's a go-kart on wheels. It's a mini 911, it's cool as. Porsche in the garage, enough space for me to get to my desk. Absolute precision driving. Nice. Look at that. Yeah, I'll do a video on this thing, like what I did with James's Escort, Mark 1 Escort. We'll just take it for a drive, talk about it, because I drove it once. I don't know if you could hear me in the previous clip, but it feels like a go-kart. It's a turbo 4-cylinder. The motor sits around there somewhere. I think it's more mid-engine than it is rear-engine. So the center weight is right there, sort of either on the rear axles or just in front of it. And I don't think it is very heavy. I think it's probably like 13 or 1400 kilos, maybe just a little heavier than that thing. So obviously it's got leather and aluminium billet handles and all the Porsche stuff. But yeah, really, really cool. Not mine, father-in-law's. Funny looking at the the wheel size difference. Like I thought these were pretty chunky and beefy. These are 17-inch by 9s with a chunky sidewall. And then you look at these are Porsche 911 wheels, which are 21s, and they just goes to show how low the Silvia is. We got feeling back in the clutch. Anyone with kids would know you sort of rush to get things done because kids, and you want to keep them in a routine. So I didn't film it, but I actually did the top bleed nipple in the master, and that let out a huge air bubble and instantly got way better pressure on the pedal. Did that 3 or 4 times, got the fluid through, changed back down to the bottom one, bled it a couple more times, was almost there. And then I got father-in-law out just to jump under the car and open and close the bleed nipple, and then I push the clutch pedal. There's still a little dead spot right at the start, which is pretty normal. I think the actual hole in the clutch pedal's ovaled, so it sort of has a bit of play, but I'm stoked with it. It's going to fully engage now. Hey buddy, what have you got? What have you got? Oh wow. Can you say hi? Way better, feels better. I'm gonna get back to being a dad because I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, that's where we're at with the car at the moment. I haven't posted the other video yet about the timing. I haven't really had time or anything like that. Pun dad jokes. But I want to get it properly dialed in. I just need to start. I'm 99% sure my settings are correct. I just need to get a new battery so I can crank faster. And then hopefully the timing light shoots more accurately and I can adjust that timing offset, which should be about 270, maybe 360 degree. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll go negative 360 or negative 270 and just go the other way and see if that works. But new battery first. Just go and get a cheapie because I had a AGM battery in it. Unfortunately, it went completely flat. Tried to do a recondition on it. It's swelled up. It's fully dead. I maybe get 1 or 2 cranks out of it with a jump pack on it, and it's just there for show at the moment. And I basically turned my battery charger on to 12-volt accessories to test little bits and pieces. But yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you for watching that. It's 1,000 degrees in the garage, as you can see. I'm sweating. But yeah, that's the GkTech products. I use pretty much everything, my brake lines, everything. It's just easy. It's either GkTech, EFI Solutions, or Tarks if you're an Aussie, and it's just easy, cheap, and it's high quality stuff. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I don't know what the next one will be. Hopefully it's starting this. Cheers. See you later.